Let's talk a little bit about this kind of funnel that you've got going on. You have the live show, and the live show becomes the content, and then that content drives more people to buy tickets to the live show. So it's kind of like a virtuous cycle that you're doing, right?
Exactly. We call it the Symphony.
Awesome. We've got Harrison Forman of UpDating here on Creator Logic. Harrison, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Avi, it's great to be here. Thanks for thinking about us for this.
Yeah, it's interesting business that you've got. We talked a little bit about it on through LinkedIn, but you're kind of touring is a big part of your business, and I think there's a lot of creators that probably are leaving money on the table, not exploring touring as a revenue generating business. So definitely want to kind of dig in and learn more about that. But for the audience, you want to talk a little bit about what is your business as a creator. I know it's called UpDating. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so UpDating, we're a live reality show that blends comedy and dating in front of a live audience. So you get part Jerry Springer, part Love is Blind. It's sort of live entertainment on steroids at the highest level. And at the core, we set up two people on a blindfolded date in front of a live audience. So you never know what's going to happen with scenarios like that. And myself and my co-creator, Brandon Berman, he was a stand-up comedian. I come from the social media world, and we weren't seeing funny, relatable dating shows, and let alone in front of a live audience. And so we saw this niche and just wanted to make it cool. And we started almost 6 years ago. But after a couple years of digging, finally within the past 2 years, we started seeing some of those benefits on the business side, and it's been really exciting.
Awesome. And so tell me a bit about how you make money for UpDating. What are the different kind of lines of business that you've got?
Certainly. So we're creating a broad business with UpDating. We don't want to rely on one revenue stream. So obviously tickets. We started with ticket sales. It's sort of our mentality has always been, if you could sell a ticket, you could do anything. Like, to get someone to buy a ticket, put in their credit card. We're a live comedy show. We have hundreds, sometimes thousands of people coming to our show. So ticket sales is probably our biggest revenue stream. Then we have brand deals, and we've done brand deals with DraftKings. We've worked with Blue Chew. We've worked with a dating app called HUD, and we offer a pretty full service suite of options for brands. It's almost like if you look at like the NFL, right? You could be a sponsor at the live show of the NFL, so experiential, or you could be a digital sponsor, or there could be some custom activation. So brand sales are probably the second bucket. The third bucket is our digital revenue between syndicate. I call it syndication, but Snapchat revenue, Facebook revenue, and then of course AdSense on YouTube. So that's sort of how it's broken out right now. We're exploring different revenue streams in the future, but those are the three big ones.
I saw you have a merch shop on the website. Is that like a significant source of revenue or not really?
Not really. Almost negligible. But we're about to invest in our first merch line and do it properly. It's sort of just been a leave it up, see what happens kind of product for us, but we're excited about it. I think ultimately, I'm sure there are some creators who rely on merch, and that's like their number one revenue stream. But for us, we already ask our fans to buy tickets, so it's always sort of been a secondary
Right.
thought. But we're going to work on it.
In terms of like percentage of pie, if you had to break down live shows, brand deals, and what I'll call platform rev share,
Right.
how would you kind of split those out?
I would honestly say it's around really close to a third, a third, a third. Like
Okay.
it really is. I would give it probably 40% the edge to ticket sales, and then lower piece of the pies would be 40, 30, 30.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how we would look at it.
Let's talk a little bit about this kind of funnel that you've got going on, right? Because like you make this like you have the live show, and the live show becomes the content, and then that content drives more people to buy tickets for the live show. So it's kind of like a virtuous cycle that you're going, right?
Exactly. I mean, I think our model is pretty smart because we're not paying money out of our pocket for studio space to go record our content. Like, we're getting paid to make our content. It's on. People are buying tickets that we're already in the plus. Like when we're shooting our videos and our episodes. So yeah, we call it the Symphony, right? We're selling tickets for the live show, and the live show becomes our digital show. And our digital show is sort of broken down into two ways. We have our short form videos. So, TikTok, Instagram, the reels, and those, they're funny, they're snappy, quick editing. I mean, it's you don't really see short form at the quality that I think we're putting out. And the short form, if you want to be a super fan of our stuff, you're going to watch that and go to our YouTube and watch the full episode. So short form for us are almost the trailers for the long form in a lot of ways. And we have a lot of thoughts on, like, we've short form, we have folks that only watch our long form and folks that only watch our short form, and we don't care. If you're consuming both, we have found that YouTube fans are the most sticky. They are the biggest true fans. If they're sitting back watching 45-minute episodes, that means you're a true fan.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get into those numbers real quick. Actually, before we do the numbers, I just want to confirm. So I found for you guys YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, a Twitter or X or whatever. I also saw you have a newsletter. Is that like a significant part of the funnel or a source of audience for you?
Great question. Yeah, newsletter around over 40,000 on a newsletter. I don't think that's small.
No, that's significant. Yeah.
It's pretty solid. So that has always been part of our marketing channel. We also have a community. I'm sure you're familiar with, like, text us to join this community. We have
Right.
around 20,000 folks in that. So yeah, that's sort of the broad.
Right, you said 20,000 folks in that?
Yeah,
Oh, that's pretty big. That's big.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is nice. X isn't a priority. I would say TikTok wrote, I think, 1.2 million, Instagram almost a million, YouTube and Snapchat we're almost at 200K now.
Oh, Snapchat. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of like how those break out in terms of driving revenue, like percentage of pie, right? Like, yeah, you said YouTube is like really a big driver for, I assume, like ticket sales, brand deals, obviously like AdSense. Like, if you were to think about these, it looks like seven sorts of audience, right? YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, newsletter, SMS, Snap. Like, how do you kind of break down like what's driving revenue for you?
Oh, that's interesting. Between each platform, it's hard to pinpoint because, like, we look at all of these platforms as driving our ticket sales, right? So I would say it's around equal, honestly, across the board. Obviously, and TikTok and Instagram, we don't get paid on. Snapchat and YouTube are the only ones we're making money from.
Is someone who only follows you on TikTok, is that driving the same number of ticket sales, for example, as like someone who follows you on YouTube? Or is like YouTube really like once someone follows you on YouTube, they end up being a buyer?
It's an amazing question. We could get deeper with this data. I would say it's probably around 50-50, honestly. Like between and we've only been on YouTube under a year, which is crazy to see our
Oh, wow.
growth. We're having a couple 100,000 views an episode. We started YouTube last April. So I would say if I surveyed a live audience, it would probably be 50% of the folks in the room are coming from short form, 50% are coming from long form.
Okay. And what about like the newsletter and the SMS community?
It's a good. So I mean, the newsletter drives a lot of ticket sales too. We have
Yeah.
we're just pushing for it. I know, I wish I had like more specifics, but we look at our marketing mix as it's like you're going to war and you want every kind of tank going at the same time. We hear some of the most out there stories for how people bought a ticket. It could come from
Right.
like any different direction. It might, hopefully, maybe it comes from this podcast. Newsletter has insanely high engagement, around 62% open rate, around 6-7% click through rate. So I would say that is sticky. We've always been, Avi, from day one, big believers in data. And, if you just have your TikTok following, your Instagram following, who knows what's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
So we've wanted to build those emails, those phone numbers from literally day one. We had 100 followers on Instagram and we had 1,000 emails at the time, right? So we've always been big believers in that. I think more creators out there should figure out a way to go get those emails. For us, it was ticket sales.
This is really interesting. So, okay. So,
Yeah, it's a different kind of business, isn't it?
yeah. I mean, I love this, like, because it's not really a funnel, it's more like a virtuous cycle.
It is. It is. And in the comedy creator world, so if you were having other comedians on, they're going on their tour, they're doing 30 cities. They're doing the same monologue and they're probably a very similar act, right? In all of those cities. So they can only post one YouTube episode, make money from that tour. They can only post maybe one Snapchat. Like all of our episodes are different. So we can monetize all 30 of our tour shows. And I think that's really unique, especially in the comedy world, when a lot of the acts are the same.
Right, because the format is designed basically to be improvised by whoever from the like whoever you're putting up there.
Exactly, exactly. We're casting different folks in every city. It's sort of like it's like a new age creator meets an old school syndicated television show, like a Judge Judy Family Feud in a lot of ways, right?
Did you design that format intentionally to be this kind of like cycle, or did you kind of realize as you were going that oh man, this is actually like feeding itself? And how do you augment that? Is there anything you do to like add fuel to the fire?
As far as eyeballs,
I imagine that people discover like right now. I imagine that people discover you primarily through short form because that's just the primary discovery mechanism on the internet right now. They funnel the long form and then to newsletter and SMS, and then through all of that they are purchasing tickets, but they're also like staying in the funnel because they keep seeing the content, and so even if they don't purchase a ticket now, they might purchase one later.
right?
But like for you, to your point that you said earlier, you get paid to produce your content because you're
Exactly.
uh
Right, because people paying money are a part of our content,
right,
essentially.
right.
It's a live studio audience.
Yeah. And so I'm wondering, I guess, is like,
Was that part of the plan?
yeah.
It's a great question, Avi. I would say from day one, we came about this from live entertainment. Like we believed in the power of live entertainment. We studied big comedy acts touring, musicians. I mean, we came at this from live entertainment, and that's how we started. So we knew that if we had a show that was sort of like Fish, the band Fish or Dave Matthews, where every single show is different, that would create a lot of value in the long run for us. Did we know when we started that this like short form, we would have been geniuses if we knew from like the beginning, a lot of this work that everyone, hope all of your listeners are doing, a lot of it is kind of timing, right? And it's just churn and you're throwing stuff at the wall and then boom, you capture something. For us, we hit short form right when it was kind of popping, and we stayed on that.
So follow up question on that is, you're actually having success converting viewers on short form to purchasers. What about how? Yeah, because like there's
Yeah,
VidCon was infamous last year for all the like short form creators having no one in line to meet and greet them, but like you're
I
using
remember
short form
that.
to sell tickets. So like what how is that possible, or what are you doing to differently?
Amazing question. So a couple of things. A, humor. We're comedians. Like it has to be funny. Like what you're seeing online. Like we start with that. Is this funny? Is this something that is going to make you laugh? That was number one. Number two, I think in our content, it really shows what it's like being in the live audience. Like we have camera shots. We have audience cam. I think it's no different than the Dallas Cowboys showing the stadium, right? Like
Mm.
sometimes you want to watch at home, sometimes you want to be in the crowd. I think that was really, really important. And we've always been big believers in creating content based with a call to action. Like just creating content for like having tickets to push mentally for us was like the biggest thing, because then it's like, oh, we have to post this video. We have to sell these tickets. Like the more videos we're posting, the more tickets we're selling. So a lot of folks creating stuff for the sake of creating stuff, it's a tough long-term business strategy. Like what's the call to action?
Right. That makes sense. Okay, let's jump into your operating stack. What do you use for like your website?
Website, we use Webflow.
Okay, why'd you pick Webflow?
We had some tech dude connect us to another tech guy who became our friend, and we had something on Squarespace, and it was just so limited. Webflow, I think we could make it a little more custom. He did a great job with it. Love our website, and we always wanted it to be like super, super, super clean. Like tickets, you click on that, and that is just so specific of a call to action. So yeah, Webflow for that. Email we use Beehive. I
Mm,
don't know if you're familiar.
I use Beehive. Yep.
Yeah, Beehive. Yeah, I was using Mailchimp. I think Mailchimp, honestly, was like 4 or 5 times. I was spending 4 or 5 times more a month on Mailchimp than we are Beehive. Beehive's much more affordable. Definitely gets the job done. Definitely been enjoying Beehive. I think a lot of creators use Beehive.
SMS, you use Community, right?
SMS we use Community. which I think is also standard, right?
Yeah, I've heard community is very expensive. Have you found it to be worth the investment?
We have. I think that's we have because we are seeing that it engages our fans, whether it's casting or buying tickets, like it is working. But I do think that's another reason why we should have merch or another product for our fans, and that's something we're working on. Just because, yeah, we are spending money on community.
So you are like you're saying by investing in merch, you'll have another thing that that audience that you're reaching in community can purchase, and that'll amortize the cost, basically.
Certainly, because let's say we have a fan in Nebraska who's a diehard fan. I'm sure there are a
Yeah,
couple out there. I don't know when our tour is going to Nebraska.
right,
Maybe next, Omaha is on the list, but it's not top of the list. So what else can they like? What else can we show love, or what else? How else can they show love to us by supporting the show besides buying a ticket? And
right.
I think that's why you have merch or like other fan membership stuff.
That makes a lot of sense. For ticketing, yeah, let's talk about how you actually do this touring stuff, right? I know you're
Yeah.
represented at WME. Do you have other representation as well, or just the agency?
Just the agency. They're great partners for with us, and yeah, so we have a couple agents who book our touring, and they're experts at what they do, and everything from pricing to what cities to what's the right venue. And the beauty of like being a touring act today is like you do get the data. Like we get the data from YouTube, from Instagram. We know where our fans are. We're going to Europe this summer. We know what other countries in Europe have love updating. So we have that data.
In terms of like the ticketing and actually selling the tickets, like you're selling the tickets on your website, right? Like, is that, or are you are you driving people to other websites depending on what city they're in? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, great question. So every venue has their own ticket platform deal. I guess you could, some have like TicketWeb, some have StubHub or Live Nation or something like that. So I guess in a way, our ticket site on our website is more of a redirect because you're clicking that, but it could be any number of different websites for ticketing. And ticketing is just something that it's pretty standard in like the live entertainment space that you're not running your own ticketing.
Right.
There's just no way around that. So
Totally, totally. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah,
So basically, just to make sure I'm understand the process, WME books you at a venue in Omaha. Let's use that as an example.
right.
That Omaha
Yeah, good
venue
example.
might have a deal with TicketWeb, might be a Live Nation venue. Like you don't know,
Correct.
whatever. It doesn't really matter because they're going to give you a ticket link. You're going to put that on the like hyperlink a button on the website. So when someone goes to your website and they see Omaha, they're like, oh, I want to buy that ticket. They click it, it'll take them to whatever the ticket vendor for that venue is. Doesn't matter to you. And then the venue collects the money and pays out your share, basically.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. With like the settlement, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's exactly correct. And we've had many ticket platforms reach out to us like, can you run updating ticketing on like my new startup that does ticketing? I feel like there's like a dozen every week, and like no, the answer is no. Like it's out of
Right.
our pay grade. Every
Right.
venue has their own deals in place, right? So it's neat in theory, but like that's just sadly not how it works.
No, that makes a lot of sense. It's interesting. I
Yeah.
had a conversation about this with a startup like that recently, and it's like,
Oh, wow, okay. Like a
uh,
ticketing startup?
yeah, yeah. And I was like,
Everyone's
I
doing
don't.
how many ticketing startups do we need?
Well, the thing is, like, no, like, nobody likes Ticketmaster, and so everyone's like, we could
Yeah,
do this better. But like, the reality is, like, actually, you can't really because like you need the venues, and Ticketmaster has the
exactly.
venues.
Exactly.
Um,
Yeah, those deals are so ironclad, so you
yeah.
can't get around that.
You guys have do you, like you use your website for your link in bio, basically?
Yeah, so we use BioSite for link in bio,
Okay. Why
which is a
that?
Squarespace one. I I just like the design, honestly, and I like that it was different. Kind of contrarian with that. The link tree, I don't know, it looks a little standard. We like our bio site thing, and we keep the call to actions very, very specific. It's tickets here, casting here, and then driving people to our other platforms.
Makes sense.
And obviously put our brand deals in our link in bio if we have any.
Okay, that makes sense. Do you use anything for like project management across all this stuff?
No. We use Google Sheets for certain tasks, or our video editors, or Final Cut, or Linux. I mean, we're using all sorts of like software on the video editing front.
Right. But you track everything through Google Sheets, basically.
Correct. Yeah, we'll use Google Sheets to track it. Yeah, we're pretty organized with it. I mean, just coming from like, we had day jobs before this, right? Just coming from that world where it's like your weekly one-on-one, your weekly report. I feel like as a creator, you don't have time for that stuff. Like
Right.
you just don't.
Totally.
It's a waste of time. Like it's just to get stuff done. There's no quarterly sync. It just doesn't. I mean, we have a quarterly sync with our accountant. That's kind of it.
That makes sense. Speaking of accountant, what do you use for finances, accounting, credit card, banking, like anything special there?
For no, nothing special. We have our account. He kind of manages all of that. No fancy software. I wish. We might set up QuickBooks.
Do you use like Carrot or like any of the creator credit cards or bank accounts?
I don't even know about those. No, we're no, yeah, we don't use any of the creator stuff for that.
Do you have like a membership or anything like that, or is it?
We don't. It's something that some folks have looked into. I think long term we're exploring a few ideas around that, just to offer super fans more from the community, whether it's meeting people, getting more content. But right now we don't have anything like that. We're in audience growth mode. Put it out there. Like I don't. It would kill me if we had a super fan out there who just like didn't see our stuff because it was behind a paywall. Like
Yeah,
we're just trying to get as many eyeballs right now as possible.
I love that. What do you use for like video production for your live shows?
Like what kind of team or crew?
Yeah, yeah. Tell me about like the production process, like what, and also like, I mean, if you know off the top of your head, like what cameras and mics and kind of stuff do you use?
Yeah, no, totally. I wish I had like all the specifics. Our director of production, his name's Ian Priven. He's amazing, and he's a one man wrecking crew, and he's like Tarantino and an entire staff in one. So he's setting up like five, six multicam at all of our shows. We have Sony's, we have Canons, we have fancy apps controlling the cameras with a mobile app, so you can like adjust the placement during our show. The microphones, we're not like miking up the people on stage. They're just using the mics from the room, but we get the audio feed from the venue.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But yeah, we really don't have to buy fancy microphones or anything like that. And the cool thing about like video production, you buy this stuff once. I mean, maybe there are little tweaks that you have to buy again, but it's so cool it's a fixed cost.
And what does your team look like? So you have the Predator, your director of production, plus like you and your partner.
Me and Brandon Berman, who, yeah, my partner, he hosts the show, and he does our short form video editing. I co-host the show and do our casting, so we delegate between us. That is it, Avi. We are a 3-person team.
Who uploads the videos and stuff?
Yeah, Brandon does actually. Brandon's uploading. He's extreme. Discipline would be an understatement. We've been posting daily for like a couple years, and yeah, it's just such a strength of our team and of him. And I think, yeah, we've tried interns, like it just doesn't stick. And I think what most creators, maybe for your listeners who are trying to get started, the key is like, if you don't mind rolling up your sleeves, it's better for business to not to if you're doing some of the tasks that like maybe an intern would do, like that's good. Like you don't have to hire people to do some of this stuff. We're doing things that like we're a lot more skilled and senior, but we're just doing it because we're being lean and efficient. And most people aren't like, they just don't get stuff done.
Yeah, I love that. Any other tools or partners that you have that we haven't mentioned?
It's a good question. We have a work phone. I don't know if that's too.
Well, you got a bat phone.
Yeah, I call it the Drake phone, the burner phone, because I'm sure Drake has like 20 phones.
What is there a reason you have that one of those instead of just using your own?
There actually is. So we cast our show, and we have a lot of random people reaching out all the time. And I started getting like creepy calls or FaceTimes at like 3 a.m. I'm like, this is too much. But as far as like other systems, other processes, Adobe Premiere, we had the full suite for that. Occasionally, I'll use Canva just for some quick flyers, quick little deliverables, maybe for brands. But we're a lean team. Oh, we do have our freelance graphic designers, I guess, but that's low, and that's a low investment. Would you say that we're one of the leaner teams, like with our audience size?
Yeah, it sounds pretty lean. Yeah. And I like the quote of like, if you don't mind rolling up your sleeves, it's better for business. It's a good one.
Yeah, exactly. It really is.
Dope. Well, then I just have a quick lightning round.
This is great. No, this has been fun. I mean, it's fun talking about this stuff because we don't really share this with anyone.
Awesome. Well, I think there's definitely some interesting stuff here. That virtuous cycle piece, I think, is really interesting. That's probably going to be the
Right.
angle. So let's do this quick lightning round, and then I can let you go because I know you've got something in 10 minutes. But basically, maybe keep it to like 2 sentences or less for each of these.
Cool.
What's your number one tool to save time and money?
Whoa. Number one tool to save time and money. I would say Google Drive. Yeah, I would say Google Drive.
Is there a reason?
It's just I probably have like 10,000 different G docs I've opened at some point. What do most people say for that?
I mean, Notion, Google Drive,
Yeah. Okay.
smartphone. I mean, there's lots of
Yeah.
random stuff.
Yeah, I would say Google Drive.
With free money, who would you hire?
That's an incredible question. So with free money, we would probably hire a second camera operator. That wouldn't hurt. We could probably get some other interesting angles at the live show. With free money, I would probably also just a team of like ambassadors who are just in every city pushing our show, sending us contestants to, like, they're hunters out there, they're recruiters. And maybe I would pay to get Kim Kardashian on the show.
I love that. What's contributing most to your growth?
What's contributing most to our growth is I would say YouTube right now. I would say YouTube specifically is contributing to our growth because one, like, firming up your community until you have that, all these other potential opportunities, the merch or other app ideas or products you want to do for your community, none of that really starts to become a realistic possibility until you have YouTube and you see your true fans and you meet your true fans. Even with TikTok, Instagram, we didn't see it at the level of fandom that we see with YouTube. Like it's remarkable.
Awesome. What strategies or habits do you swear by?
I swear by the habit of you need one day off a week. You just need it. It's a 24/7 life, but I do think having that holy Saturday is really important for your creative mind, for refreshing. Sundays work, Monday through Friday. I mean, look, this is the most fun job. I didn't even think a job could be this fun, and I'm grateful every day. But I still think you still need that like half day, that day for your personal life. You can't. I'm not a big believer working intensely 7 days a week. I don't. That's. I think that's bad for business, honestly, because you need to get away from that. And then, yeah, I mean, the other habit is just get shit done. Like it's hard to. That's actually bad advice. I mean, it's decent advice. It's just kind of generic.
Yeah, I like the one day off a week.
That's better. That's better. Run with that.
What's the biggest risk to your business?
Whoa. The biggest risk to our business, to be honest, we've set up our business in a great way where like even if a pandemic happened and we couldn't do the live show, like we have so many archived episodes. So like we'd be able to have ready to go. But I would say the biggest risk to our business is oh, man, that's tough. We're in a good place. Like I would say because I'm not even worried too much about competitors or people ripping our stuff. The biggest risk to our business, I call it, is staying out. Like you can't stay not staying in the zeitgeist because it's entertainment. It's live entertainment. Like you're in, you're out. Like that's typically there were digital series that were way bigger a few years ago. Nobody even watches them anymore. And that's the biggest risk. It's like, how do you always do what's trendy, what's new? I'm getting older. How do I know like the 21-year-old next TikTok star to cast on our show? Like that's the biggest risk. Like that we always just stay cool.
That's a good one. What do you wish you knew when you started?
I wish we invested more in YouTube earlier on. We're only within a year of our journey. We're almost at 700K subs, which is awesome. But imagine if we started that earlier,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that would have been pretty wild. But look, everything happens for a reason. Bandwidth, was a challenge then. So we really were just doing short form video, and now it's everything.
Awesome. How do you think of yourself? Creator, influencer, artist, solopreneur, entrepreneur, or something else?
I would say creator and entrepreneur. Creator and entrepreneur are probably the two that come to mind. Creator, entrepreneur, and maybe like media, I don't know, media personality.
Yeah, that's good. Last one is, who influences you as a creator?
Who influences me? Man, I love this too. There are a few folks that I would say Jerry Seinfeld. You know, I think the way he like created that IP, structured those business deals, like he's actually very savvy when it comes to business. Seinfeld, a lot of creators and comedians go to him for advice on their deals. So I just always respected him, both like creating original IP, and and knowing the right deal. I would say the Mark Burnett's of the world, who created these like tentpole reality franchises, The Survivors. I mean, it's still on air. Like they're making money from like 8 different products. Like I respect anyone who comes up with an original show idea. And a lot of stuff I see on the internet, sadly, it's just not that original. It's like similar stuff. So I respect folks like that.
Awesome. Well, that's what I've got. This was great. I really appreciate you taking the time here, son.
No, thanks for having me. Hopefully we can get together in real life sometime. And no, this was excellent. This is fun. And anyone listening,
Yeah, I was gonna say, where should people go to? Like, what's the one call to action you want?
yeah, I would say if you want to come to updating, maybe go to our Instagram. Go to our Instagram, follow us. We'll be posting tickets. And if you want to watch a full episode, go to our YouTube, youtube.com/updating show. And you can always DM my personal at HT Forman if you want to chat. And just say hi. We're constantly on tour, based here in New York. And looking forward to meeting everyone. And keep going. If you're out there, just keep going. That's all I have to say.
I love it.